need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
Hey folks, I'm David Brody. Welcome to the water cooler. Well, look, was it a debate or a debacle? I think we all know the answer to that. It doesn't rhyme with rebate, by the way. The presidential debate in Ohio didn't seem very presidential at all. All it was missing was Jerry Springer or maybe Geraldo Rivera and a chair throwing incident, possibly Maury Povich on stage telling one of the candidates that they either are or are not the father. Look, this debate debacle had plenty of drama, downright ugly, and honestly, that's an insult to the word ugly.
You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal. We have a higher deficit with China now than we did before. We have the highest trade deficit with Mexico.
China ate your lunch, down 18%. China ate your lunch, Joe, and no wonder your son goes in and he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve 183?
Yikes. Of course, a lot of people are getting caught up in the style of the debate. Today, though, we're going to drill down on the substance and why that actually may be good news for President Trump. We'll get to that. Also, we know about the Trump base enthusiasm. We know it's a real thing, but are secret Trump voters a real thing, too? We're actually going to talk to one by silhouette today on the show. That's going to be interesting. A very FBI of us, kind of Brennan and Comey-esque. They'd be proud, not that we care, of course. All right, first to the debate. I don't know about you. I needed a hot shower, some chamomile tea after it was all done. I felt very verklempt. As a matter of fact, you can look that up. It's Yiddish. Joining us now, David Bossie, Donald Trump's former deputy campaign manager and author of the book, Trump America First. David, hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm going to have to look up those words, too, myself.
Okay. Yeah, it's Google verklempt. That's all. That's real simple. Hey, look, we're going to get to the book in a moment, but let's talk about what transpired in Cleveland last night. That was a wild scene. What's your take?
Oh, it was a great scene. From my standpoint, everybody wants to talk about the style. I remember 4 years ago, after the first debate, we had the same exact conversation, the style of Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton won at Hofstra. The election is over. The sky is falling. May as well pack it in. Guess what? Donald Trump's a winner. Donald Trump's a fighter. And what he showed last night is he's fighting for the American people. He's not going to take any guff off a moderator, and he's not going to take it off of Joe Biden. And he's certainly not going to take it about election integrity and about a peaceful transition of power, when in fact Joe Biden's standing on the stage with a person that he ran an investigation of. Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton got together with a cabal of James Comey and company to try to run a coup against a duly elected president. So we're not going to put up with any of that. We're going to make sure the American people know exactly what happened, and that's where I think this election is headed.
Listen, David, I know that the Trump campaign and others like yourself, they think, or you guys think, that the media is doing Joe Biden's bidding, if you will. And so Donald Trump had to kind of bring all of that up because the media won't. But how do you think this plays in the suburbs? I get it that it's a base election and enthusiasm and all of that. But what about those suburban women who, and men for that matter, who may just be kind of ticked off to say, you know what, that was a strongman performance, but that was also 5-hour Energy Bowl strongman performance. It may have been a bit too much.
People don't, on election day or when they end up voting, they're not going to be voting over style. They're not going to be voting on that. They're going to be voting on substance. They're going to be voting on which of these men is going to affect them and their family and their children and grandchildren's futures. What does America look like in 5 and 10 years from now? That's what this is going to be about. Nothing more, nothing less.
I want to play you a clip from last night's debate. It had to do specifically with what I thought was a very squeamish moment for Joe Biden, where Chris Wallace actually had to save Biden when Donald Trump brought out this whole thing about law enforcement and Joe Biden and the support or lack thereof that he receives. Have a listen.
True.
He doesn't have any law support. Look, he has no law enforcement
that's not
support.
True.
Almost
that's
nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
No, think
all right.
Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported you.
Gentlemen, I think
I'm... David.
That's called scoring points. That's called scoring points. When Joe Biden refused to condemn Antifa, which was just prior to that, okay? Antifa is a terrorist organization. It's not an idea. Okay, Joe Biden, it's not an idea. It's a terrorist organization. The American people get it. They know it. They watch it on television. They see the rioting and looting and the burning and the murders that are committed in these cities, city after city. That's going on in this country, and it's being done by Antifa. This is a terrorist organization. The president's willing to call it that. Joe Biden calls it an idea. We call that a disconnect from reality. And we think that the American people, which are watching the TV, watching their cities burn down, understand it better than Joe Biden does. And Joe Biden's going to have to answer for that answer for the next 35 days, as well as the no support from the women and men in blue. The police force, these departments, they are for President Trump, not Joe Biden.
Listen, David, I've got to ask you, before we turn to the book, that white supremacy question that Chris Wallace asked, I want to get your reaction to that, because the president's being beat up for today on that. With you, he wanted to turn to Antifa, but he didn't really condemn. I know he said sure, but it wasn't very forceful in terms of condemning the Proud Boys. As a matter of fact, he said then stand by, and no one's quite sure what that means.
Yeah, but I understand exactly what you're talking about, but the president of the United States was talking about election integrity. He was talking about, and Chris Wallace is trying to get him to condemn somebody, and the president's like, sure, just tell me who to condemn. Tell me who to condemn. Sure, no problem. I'll condemn whoever you want, because that's the cancel culture aspect of where we are today. That's where we are in America. So I just have to say that the president's answer was exactly right on the election integrity aspect. But nobody's asking Joe Biden about his experience with Senator Byrd, who was a KKK leader. Nobody's asking him about Senator Eastland or Talmadge, known segregationist senators that he worked with every minute of every day in the United States Senate. His record on crime, and criminal justice, the 1994 crime bill. Nobody's talking about the super predator line that the president brought up last night. So it's a juxtaposition. We understand it, but the president was very clear on the election integrity question last night.
David, the new book, you and Corey Lewandowski, Trump, America First, take us inside. And when I say inside, it really is kind of an inside campaign look at what goes on. What did you experience, and what do Americans need to know about this president that they may not be getting from the mainstream media?
Well, a couple of things. One, it's a great, fun read. We take people backstage at the rallies. We take them on Air Force One and in the Oval Office, and we take these folks. It's kind of kind of behind the curtain look at what goes on in the campaign. And so it's a lot of fun, but it's also a one-stop shop to give people those promises made, promises kept. The ability for a person to be able to open the book and figure out from a policy standpoint what the president has accomplished. And you can go there and take it all in and really be able to have conversations with your friends and families and neighbors, and to be able to talk to them about why President Trump deserves to be reelected.
What was most interesting to you in the book? There's a lot of stories. Corey was here yesterday talking about John Kelly and the almost fist fight outside the Oval. Oh, leave it to Corey to get almost into a fist fight outside the Oval Office. What was striking to you in the book?
Yeah.
Give us a teaser. Give us a teaser.
Yeah, I want to beat up Corey most days too, so it's okay. But look, it is a tremendous. It's a tremendous fun read. One of the things that I like to do is tell the American people one story, which is how I got to know the president, which is really through my son. When he was younger, he had a lot of medical problems. And so I write about, long before politics, how President Trump helped me raise money for Children's Hospital to give back so that other kids could have the same great health care my son did. He had 4 brain surgeries and 2 open heart surgeries. And it was a tremendously stressful thing on our family. And we recognize that's like that for a lot of families. And so President Trump, long before politics, is such a kind and gentle and wonderful man. And you look at last night's debate of him being, a tough, rough and tumble guy on a debate stage. But then he's also a family man, and he puts your family first. And so it's I put that in this book because I want people to understand who he is, much more than just what the sound bites they see from the left on TV.
David, I got less than a minute left. As it relates to the campaign that's going on now, where are you going to be looking on election night? What number needs to do well? I mean, obviously, we've heard about white Rust Belt voters. Where are you looking exactly to make sure it's going to be a good night for the president?
Well, it's going to be a great night for the president. He's going to win, and no question about it in my mind. Our path to 270 is very clear, just as it was in 2016. We're going to win all of those normal Republican states that we always do. We're going to win those. We're going to win Florida and Georgia and North Carolina and Arizona. I have absolute certainty that we're going to do that. And then it'll come down to just winning one of a few states. And we have to win either Pennsylvania or Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota.
Yeah.
We only have to win one of them. We don't have to win them all.
David, really appreciate you joining me here. Congrats on the book, and really appreciate the debate analysis.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
All right, coming up next on the water cooler, out of the shadows and into the voting booth, we're going to talk to a secret Trump voter. He's going to cast his ballot for the incumbent, but he wants to remain anonymous. What gives? Back in a moment.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain, and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up. A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
Windshields are impossible to clean, and a dirty windshield can be downright dangerous. Introducing the Hurricane Windshield Wizard, the one tool that reaches and cleans for you. It uses the power of microfiber with a pivoting head to make cleaning windshields quick and easy. The specially designed ergonomic handle fills with tap water and dispenses at the touch of a button, so you can clean in seconds without straining. And it folds away for space-saving storage. Order now and get the Hurricane Windshield Wizard with free extra bonnet for just $19.99. But order now and you can double the offer. Plus, you can also get the Battle Visor, the visor that blocks the harsh glaring sun and keeps you safe on the road. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll ship everything to you for free. That means you can get all this and free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-474-7530 or visit GetWindshieldWizard.com. So call 1-800-474-7530 now.
And welcome back to the water cooler, everybody. All right, so are secret Trump voters a real thing? We've heard about them, but do they really exist, and could they actually help President Trump win a second term? Our next guest is living proof that, yes, they do exist. Joining us now is someone we're calling generic secret Trump voter. We're going to call him John to hide his identity, and John joins us by silhouette in the dark somewhere in America. John, thanks for being here on the water cooler.
Thanks for having me, David.
Well, tell me your story. Tell America your story. You're a secret Trump voter, and give us the genesis. Take us from the beginning of your story.
Sure. Trump says a lot of things that I think a lot of people don't like. So, when I started supporting him, you go through church, you go through the soccer work. I get a lot of emails where they bash Trump, openly. And, the thought is, how could anybody support?
So continue your story. You're basically talking about how Trump says politically incorrect things, but you're able to move past that. But talk to me about that.
So, he does say a lot of things that are politically incorrect. But one thing that we've lacked, I think, as conservatives is somebody that fights for us. Trump has always been a guy that's going out there and he's bringing the fight to them. So many times, with George W. Bush, how often did you hear in the media, where they just bash him and that person would take it? Maybe if Mitt Romney was a little more forceful in those debates, he would have done better. If he was more forceful with the media, he would have done a little bit better. But the problem is, they just sit there and take it. So Trump says politically incorrect things so often, but he takes the fight to them, which is different than what we've had so many other times.
All right, so Brian, tell me about who does not know that you're a Trump voter. Who are you not telling out there?
Oh, I don't tell any of my coworkers. I've got a chain going on with those guys, and we don't typically say anything about Trump. The only thing that's said about Trump is them bashing Trump. So I don't say anything to those guys. And then the church group and the soccer family, so I help out with the soccer. And last thing I want to, we don't need to go out there and start disagreeing on things rather than agreeing. We're out there to watch our kids play. So, if I bring up something and I say I'm a Trump supporter, so many of those people are not, that they, I just don't want to ruffle those feathers.
Right. And John, I want to also ask you, and by the way, for those watching at home and you see a black screen, that is done on purpose because John, a secret Trump voter in America, says he's just not telling anybody that he's going to vote for the president, even though this just in, he is voting for the president. What about pollsters? If a pollster called your house, what would you say?
If a pollster called my house, I'd probably hang up on him. But if, I was going to take the call and they asked, why would I be honest with the perfect stranger? I mean, there's the feeling out there that if you are a Trump supporter, one, people think you're racist. Two, they think you're stupid because how could you possibly support somebody like Trump? So I'm not going to sit there and be honest with somebody that's going to automatically have a predisposition I should feel. So if a pollster calls me, one, I would hang up. Two, if I actually did answer, I would probably just play along and pretend that I wasn't a Trump voter, even for a pollster.
let me ask you, John, do you have a sense that we've heard that there are a lot of secret Trump voters out there. You think there are more out in your orbit out there, wherever you are in America?
I do know a few people that kind of keep it on the down low, people that work in the government. We're some of those guys, they don't sit there and go out and just parade it around to everybody. They keep it quiet to themselves. And there are a few people that I talk to that I'm close friends with that know. But, those guys are also, they're keeping it quiet. They don't go out there and parade it. They're not sticking Trump signs in their yard. They just don't want anybody to know what they're thinking.
So what did you make of the debate last night? I mean, he played strongman. Actually, he played Red Bull strongman. I mean, it was like over the top. I mean, but you're telling me that you're going to go with the issues over his rhetoric. But I'm curious about the debate last night. What'd you think?
Yes, he did definitely come out, look like he had about a 5-hour energy or a couple Red Bulls. He came out forceful. I think the one thing, we like about Trump is that he goes on the attack. And it felt like a lot of times he was getting attacked from two sides. Chris Wall, he's a really good guy and he does a great job. Sometimes it felt like Trump was getting interrupted when he was trying to make a point. Also, Trump opened his mouth probably too many times and interrupted Joe Biden when Joe Biden was trying to say something that might not have been good for Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a really good point. I thought the same thing. In other words, just let Biden talk could have been part of the strategy, but Donald Trump, of course, has to be the show and he has to talk. So, that's never going to change. Hey, let me ask you, if you had a few minutes with the president, what would your advice be, John, to this president? I know you're going to support him, but you're doing so secretly. A lot of people would say, hey, why not come out in the open and support him? But that's a whole nother issue. What would you say specifically to the president if you had a few minutes with him?
So I've heard so many stories where President Trump has done really nice things for people. He's reached out to fallen heroes. He's also reached out to people and helped them so many times. And I would say we need to see that empathy from you on stage. Sometimes instead of talking, maybe be a little bit quieter, listen more. So that way people feel like they can relate to you. People want to be heard, and he needs to let them know that he can hear them. Show that empathy that are hurting out there. There's still so many that are affected by the pandemic, by the jobless rates, and et cetera. So if he could just show that empathy across the stage, I think it'd really hit home for a lot of regular voters.
Very interesting, John. Listen, I really appreciate it. You're there in the dark, in America, somewhere out there. You support the president, but you're not going to tell anybody about it. And my guess is there's a whole lot more like you out there. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Have a good one.
All right. When we come back, we are joined by Lisa Desjardins, the political director of the PBS NewsHour, how the press handled the debate last night. We're back in a moment.
Uh-oh, there you go. Slow slicing fruits, veggies, and those stinky onions that bring you to tears. But not anymore. Introducing NutriChopper, the compact handheld speed slicer that cuts up to 10 times quicker than a knife. Watch. You can have one slice or 10 perfect slices at once. Amazing! You can just julienne, or you can bundle slice julienne sticks at lightning speed. With NutriChopper, you can slice the entire onion or mince a mound of onions and never have time for tears. Why slice a single apple wedge when you can wedge it all in one snap? NutriChopper comes with the razor-sharp interchangeable stainless steel blades you need to make all of the cuts you want, and all incredibly quick. Chop thick slices, chop thin slices, chop cubes, chop sticks, and wedge whole fruits and vegetables in just 1 second. Slice it and cook it right in the pan, right on your stove. Chop and slice right into the pot for a family-sized stew with no mess. Snap and slice a fruit salad for the kids right into the bowl in seconds. Slice up a healthy salad for a quick and easy meal on the go. Cube meats and cheeses quick, in a snap. And NutriChopper comes with a perfect portion container and fresh keeping lid so you can slice it, seal it, and store it all in one. To clean, simply rinse or rack it in the dishwasher. Then lock it to store it safely in a drawer. And now the NutriChopper with the thin slice, thick slice, wedge, and cube blades, and the slice and store container and lid, a value of over $40, is yours for just $19.99. But wait! Order now and we'll even pay the shipping for you. You get the complete NutriChopper set with blades and container with lids, all for just $19.99 with free shipping. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-927-4071 or go online at NutriChopper.com. That's 1-800-927-4071 or go to NutriChopper.com. Order now.
Windshields are impossible to clean, and a dirty windshield can be downright dangerous. Introducing the Hurricane Windshield Wizard, the one tool that reaches and cleans for you. It uses the power of microfiber with a pivoting head to make cleaning windshields quick and easy. The specially designed ergonomic handle fills with tap water and dispenses at the touch of a button, so you can clean in seconds without straining. And it folds away for space-saving storage. Order now and get the Hurricane Windshield Wizard with free extra bonnet for just $19.99. But order now and you can double the offer. Plus, you can also get the Battle Visor, the visor that blocks the harsh glaring sun and keeps you safe on the road. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll ship everything to you for free. That means you can get all this and free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-474-7530 or visit GetWindshieldWizard.com. So call 1-800-474-7530 now.
And welcome back to the water cooler. All right, so who won the presidential debate? Well, as you might imagine, if you go into conservative circles, the president did. Outside of that, Joe Biden did. Now, the more conservative New York Post has a front page up saying nasty. First debate, a brutal slugfest. Then, of course, the New York Times, the liberal New York Times, jabs Trump with the headline, with crosstalk, lies, and mockery, Trump tramples decorum in debate with Biden. All right, for some analysis on what went down in Cleveland Tuesday, we're joined by PBS NewsHour correspondent Lisa Desjardins. Lisa, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm glad to be here.
Lisa, first off, have you recovered from watching that debate last night? I mean, I've never seen anything like that. Never.
I will be honest, we're juggling a lot of stories right now, including this one. And I just talked to a producer on the phone and I said, can we all just go back to bed and pull the covers over our head? I don't think that would help things, but I definitely had that instinct a few times today.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what you thought right off the top. I mean, Trump just couldn't, he wanted to talk. Shockingly, Donald Trump wanted to talk. So what did you make of some of the political upside or downside to either one of those candidates on stage last night?
I'm in a fortunate position. I was the reporter who covered Trump for PBS NewsHour in 2016, and now I cover Biden. So I've spent a lot of time looking at both of these men, how they interact, how they approach these kinds of forums. And I think President Trump is someone who, when he feels that he is under attack, he ramps up his own attacks, and he, I think, likes to throw the first punch. And I think that he clearly is seeing polls right now. He wants to be doing better than he is in those polls. Whether those polls are right or not, that's a different discussion. But you could tell that he is someone who feels like he's under attack. He is throwing a lot of punches. And because of that, I think, as you just displayed, I think some Trump voters we're hoping to hear more of what he's about, more of why they voted for him, and less of the sort of kind of defense posture we saw from him on stage. But, that said, that's who he is, and that's one reason he was elected as well. This idea of a strong leader, someone who is not going to take anyone pushing him around, that he's going to throw the first punch. That's what some people like about him.
Lisa, I guess it's a victory for Biden because he didn't make any colossal error like, killing 200 million Americans during, in COVID, like he's been talking about at one point. But what's interesting to me is that I know the Biden campaign wanted him not to kind of stoop down to that level, if you will, and yet there was Biden calling the president a clown and you're the worst president of the United States and will you shut up? And so, I'm wondering how that might play in Peoria, if you will.
All right, I wonder that too. I have to say, even going into this debate, I questioned whether this debate could really move many voters at all. And I'm even less sure now. But I do think that's an interesting observation. Biden is someone who thinks of himself and is devoted to being polite. He's a good Catholic schoolboy, I think is what he would say. But we've seen him have problems in debates in the past, like in the primary, where he's expressed anger. I do think for him, he was more restrained in this debate than I've seen him all year when he was under attack. He did have those moments calling the president a clown, saying you're the worst president in history, where he did sort of lower himself and lower the tone of the debate, as both men were doing. I think Chris Wallace called out the president more on that. I just think most Americans saw this debate as an example of the complete unraveling of political discourse and ideas in this country, the chaos that they don't want in Washington. And I think that it was something that probably hurt the way people look at our government more than the way they look at either of these two men. I don't know if it swayed many voters. If it did sway any, I think the Biden camp is feeling more confident this morning that this idea that the president has kind of unleashed this era of chaos that is not good is something that they feel like the president helped back up in the debate last night. And they think that voters will reject that.
Yeah, I think that's really astute analysis. I agree with you on that. Hey, Lisa, tell me a little bit about Chris Wallace. Boy, to be in his seat last night, I mean, my goodness, I can't even imagine. He's getting slammed. I don't know. I think it's a bit unfair personally, but, it was a very difficult position. Now, I've interviewed Trump over 20 times, and I know he commands the room when he walks in, and you better get your question out in 9 seconds, or he's just going to run roughshod over you. It was tough, Lisa. It was tough.
Right. You've interviewed the president, I think, as much as anyone, so you know how he works. I would love to see you actually handle one of these debates now that I think of it.
Goodness. I'll take an Excedrin beforehand. Yeah.
I think, Chris Wallace, every other moderator needs to write him a thank you note for going first in this debate cycle. I moderated a debate in New Jersey a couple years ago between two men who were throwing punches, nothing but punches. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you that we prepped for that debate hard with producers doing what we saw in this debate. And I kind of wonder what Chris Wallace's preparation was like, if they needed to practice more, an exaggerated version of what happened, because what we got was the exaggerated version of a debate fight.
Yeah, I am also curious on the broader issue of the media and covering Trump and Biden. You've covered them both. Obviously, it was Trump back in 2016 campaign, and now Biden this time around. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to come to any summary conclusion here, but it does seem like the media, at least with Biden, hasn't been putting him through the ringer as much as they definitely do with Trump. Now, I understand Trump gives them more material, if you will, but it just seems to me that, I don't know, with Biden, he doesn't submit to any of these tough interviews. And we had Jonathan Swan on the other day from Axios, and he was a bit disappointed in that the Biden campaign just hasn't gone there.
I agree. I wish that we would have more opportunities to ask questions for Joe Biden. I could not agree with you more on that. Part of it is the pandemic, and the Biden campaign clearly is taking more precautions than the Trump campaign. But, I can't just give him a pass because of that. Because the truth is, he could be having socially distanced news conferences once, twice, 3, 4 times a week. Instead, I believe it's been a week and a half since he had a news conference. And at that news conference, I was present. I think he took 4 questions. We're not seeing as many interviews and news conferences from Joe Biden as we would like. That is for sure for the press corps. I have a lot of tough questions I'd like to ask him, but I'm not getting that opportunity. Few of us are. The president it answers questions more often right now. It's true. But I think both of them, I would like to see both of them questioned by voters more often, more directly.
Yeah, Lisa, we've got less than 30 seconds left. If I could just ask you quickly, how do you cover Biden and COVID? It's tough, right? I got about 10 seconds.
It's really tough, especially now as we're waiting to see if there's a coronavirus relief deal at the Capitol. I'm not getting a lot of sleep, but that might be true for all of America.
Lisa, really appreciate you joining me here on the Water Cooler. Thank you.
You're welcome. A pleasure.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk to author Scott Gamm. Robots could force both you and me out of the workforce. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that in a moment.
Pain, swelling, stiffness. When your hands hurt, you can't function. Until now. Introducing the new Copperfit compression gloves with sure grip technology to give you more power, more control, and more agility than ever. Our most advanced copper-infused compression fabric woven into an ultra-lightweight performance glove that fits like a second skin to support relief and recovery of sore muscles and painful joint stiffness. And new Sure Grip bands built in to provide a strong, non-slip grip for more power and control.
You need total control of your hands when you're doing anything with construction. Your hands are your livelihood. The Copperfit gloves are great. The grip is outstanding here with these different ribs. It makes my hand a lot more usable. It just feels like you're just ready to start the job.
The gloves have been a game changer for me. They help with flexibility and pain and soreness. They allow me to do my job even better.
Breathable wicking fabric with an open finger design for full range of motion, feel, and control.
They relieve my pain. When I grab something, I'm not in pain. The support or whatever magic these things do, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to me what it is, it works.
I get a lot of pain, and it can make it difficult to do the smallest thing. While I'm wearing this, I do not have any pain. I can use it on the keyboard, I can use my phone, I drive with it, I sleep with it. I love this glove.
The new Copperfit compression gloves with Sure Grip technology. Relief from painful muscle and joint soreness. Guaranteed or your money back. Call 1-800-984-5571 or on the web at getcopperfitgloves.com for only $19.99. Order right now and your shipping is free.
I tried it, I use it, I know it works.
Copperfit gloves definitely just make my life better.
I've used Copperfit before. This has helped my hands so much. These things work.
Feel better with copper-infused compression. Ask for it by name. Copperfit compression gloves.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kinks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-313-8062.
The robots are coming. The robots are coming. But are they going to eat your career? Hey, that's some good writing by our senior producer, Grant Winter. Our next guest is the author of Overcome AI, not AOC. Overcome AI. The subtitle on that book is How to Build a Secure Financial Future in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. Scott Gamm, we appreciate you being here on the Water Cooler. Thanks so much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, you've got to tell me a little bit about the point of the book, and because you hear AI and artificial intelligence and robots and all that, but rather than being a technical book necessarily, it seems a little bit more obviously a financial type book. So kind of meld it for us together here.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think if you look back over the past 10 years, I've certainly noticed two trends. One, financial independence, and that is people are saving more money, or at least they're trying to save more money, right? Experts used to say save 10% of your salary, you work 40 years, you'll be able to retire. But you've got a lot of stories over the past decade since the financial crisis of young people saving, 40, 50, 60% of their income, and instead they're going to try to pursue a lower paying passion, quit their job, and they'll have saved up enough money to kind of pursue what they want to do. And then the other trend going on over the past 10 years is artificial intelligence. We're seeing more companies rely on that. So in the book, I kind of put the two trends together and say, well, yes, you should be pursuing financial independence so you don't have to rely on income from a job, but you really need to take advantage of the time now while you have a job to start saving for retirement, because you may not be able to quit you may not have a job in 10 years because of artificial intelligence. So the main takeaway of the book is don't assume that you're going to have a 40 or 50 year period to save for retirement. Because of technology, that period of time might be truncated to 10 or 15 years.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What is the trend? I mean, I'm not going to be out of a job next week, right? I mean, at least I hope not. I mean, are you looking at 10 to 15 years? Could it be sooner than that? What's the arc here exactly, and what do people need to look out for? Are there warning signs here that it might be coming?
Well, it's a great question, and I think it's going to depend on what sector you're in, and certainly the COVID-19 crisis, I think, has accelerated a lot of the trends that we saw prior to COVID. So, obviously we're seeing layoffs at major companies across the board. We've been seeing a lot of companies rely more on technology while we work from home. So I think that is likely going to just accelerate the adoption of AI. So in some cases, perhaps the COVID-19 crisis has sped up the time that we really need to start worrying about AI. But, I don't come at this from a, AI scientist point of view. I come at this more of you need to take the steps to get your finances in order. So that means you need to cut expenses, start saving. And if you have a job, start taking steps now to build your sort of nest egg so that you have enough money that's producing income that is covering your monthly expenses so that you don't have to rely on a job, or you don't have to rely on universal basic income, which we hear a lot of talk about that as a solution to automation and what technology might do to jobs.
Yeah, this is crucial. I mean, people planning for retirement. I mean, I'm assuming, you can tell me, you're the expert, but that does not seem to be working as well for many Americans. I think a lot of them probably rely on Social Security. I mean, pensions seem to be a thing of the past. And what is your sense as it relates to financial advice going forward specifically?
Well, I think a lot of the advice that we've been given over the past, couple of decades is now obsolete, right? I mean, like I said earlier, experts would tell folks, just save 10% of your annual salary, do that for 40 years, and you'll be good. Well, I don't think that's going to cut it anymore. And I think that the COVID-19 pandemic has just shown us how, having a 6-month emergency fund, that's another tip a lot of experts would say, have enough money set aside to cover your expenses for 6 months. That's also antiquated advice. I think people are going to need savings cushions of a much longer duration. I mean, people are out of work right now, and they may be out of work for much longer than 6 months. So I think those two things, saving more than what people used to tell you and having more of a cushion to help you get by during times of uncertainty. I mean, no one predicted this COVID crisis or the economic fallout from it. And I think that just goes to show you that, whatever folks are telling you to do with your money, you kind of have to do double and triple that and be extra cautious. And it doesn't sound fun, and it may not even sound that doable if you're out of work right now, but it's just something to think about as we kind of start to rebound from the uncertainties we've had over the past couple months.
I wonder if there's an uncertainty here. What I mean by that is we've heard about AI before for a while now, right? Artificial intelligence. Steven Spielberg did a movie about it, all of that. We've heard this before, and now you're writing a book about it saying, look, you better get ready and be careful. But I wonder how serious folks are going to take this, because we've heard about robots are coming for a while now. So what can give them the incentive this time around to get serious?
Well, it's a great question. And I got to say, I don't know if I have the answer to that, because no one really knows what AI is going to do. All you can really do is look at what CEOs of big companies are doing, why they're laying off workers, what's replacing them? Is it technology? And then if you look at some of the really high profile business leaders that have come out publicly and sounded the alarm on AI, I mentioned some of them in the book, you have to sort of take them seriously, I think, or at least acknowledge what they're saying. And maybe this is not something that you start, focusing on today, but it's just something you start to think about, like, hey, the next time you meet with your financial advisor, or the next time you really start to put together a financial plan to achieve your long-term goals, well, maybe you want to account for the possibility that you're not going to be in your job for the next 30, 40 years, right? I mean, if you're in your 20s or 30s right now, I mean, think how different the world might be when you're at the retirement age, right? Of 60 or 70 or whatever the retirement age ends up being. And so I just think the takeaway is, whether it's because of artificial intelligence or some other reason, a pandemic, a corporate restructuring, don't just assume that you're always going to have a steady stream of income coming in, right? And so if you're lucky enough to have a job right now, take the steps now to prepare for those times.
I got about 20 seconds or so left. We got a presidential election the last time I checked. When it comes to financial advice and investing, how do you guide people through that? I mean, should people maybe do something before, after the stock market? Everything's so volatile nowadays.
Yeah, it's certainly a volatile time. I mean, look, I try to stay out of the fray when it comes to market forecasts. And, there are obviously plenty of more people qualified than me to do that. But I'd say, from the folks I've been speaking to and the research I've done, obviously long-term investing tends to, score the most points for investors.
Scott, thanks so much. We'll hear a lot more about it coming up. I appreciate you joining me. Back in a moment.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus, it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these Up Tac Glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our Tac glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all Tac glasses, Up Tac Glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your Up Tac Glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
And you're looking at a live picture of Cleveland, Ohio. It still stands after Trump and Biden, so shockingly the city is still alive, though that's good news, actually. Welcome back to the Water Cooler, everybody. By the way, the Debate Commission, when it comes to these presidential debates, we should tell you now that they are deciding to change the rules somehow, or at least have some sort of different rule structure in place for the next time there's a debate. More on that. It's developing and we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so let's talk about the chaos in Cleveland, or crazy in Cleveland. You can call it whatever you want, but let's start with this overall observation. It shouldn't surprise anybody that last night's debate was an absolute mess, right? I mean, our country is bitterly divided. Our politics have become nasty. So last night we got a bitter and nasty debate from both sides. In a way, let's be honest, we actually deserve it, right? I mean, many Americans go into their cocoons. They pretty much talk to the same people and derive our own set of facts so we can come to the conclusions that we want to. As for who won or lost the debate, the fact that Biden didn't royally mess up is a victory alone for him, but that misses a much larger point. Elections are all about enthusiasm. You actually have to turn out your base. There are very few middle-of-the-road voters anymore. So, by being the aggressive strongman, Donald Trump surely pleased his base. He's going to need full engagement to win. Biden, however, will have to do major damage control, and especially with the left, after denouncing many of their priorities, right? I mean, that is the real storyline to watch out regarding this debate. Will the radical left enthusiasm for Biden dissipate after what he said in Cleveland? Remember, this is what he said. There's no manifesto agreement with Bernie. He's totally opposed to defunding the police. He doesn't support the Green New Deal. The last thing Biden can afford is to tick off the radical left. He needs them. Meanwhile, he may have ticked off some centrist Democrats, too, when he would not rule out packing the Supreme Court. So that could hurt him with Rust Belt moderates. As for Trump, let's be honest, right? He totally blew the white supremacist question. He had a great opportunity to denounce the KKK in the grandest form imaginable, and he whiffed. He denounced the KKK before plenty of times, so maybe the question was a bit unfair. Still, you have to actually say the words, I denounce the KKK, right there in that spot, and he didn't do it. Why exactly? Well, look, liberals will say, duh, it's because he's a racist. I actually think that Trump decided he wanted to pivot to Antifa's the problem. The problem is he did it too quickly. Anyhow, having said that, Trump definitely had moments, especially when he said, I've done more in 47 months than you've done in 47 years. That was a big line by Trump, and he got Joe Biden squeamish as well on a few other issues. We'll see on the next debate what happens. In the meantime, wait till the next segment. Sophie Mann, back in a moment.
Tired of struggling with regular mirrors that don't adjust so you can't get close enough? Need both hands but you don't have a stand? Can't move in the right direction to see your own reflection? You need Flexible Mirror, the bendable, light-up magnification mirror that comes to you. Watch. Just stick it on and turn the base. The super suction locking mechanism means you can put it on any smooth surfaced place, horizontal or vertical. Lock it onto any mirror, table, or desk. Use it in the shower, even on a window. The secret is Flexible Mirror's super strong articulating arm that's attached with an ingenious ball and socket so it can swivel and rotate for the perfect angle. And look how strong it holds. The mirror is precision crafted with 10 times magnification and crystal clear optics. And with a soft glow LED ring, you'll get picture-perfect lighting to highlight every detail. Flexible Mirror makes shaving, applying makeup, hairstyling, grooming, and accessorizing easier than ever before. Plus, men, listen up. The 10 times magnification makes it perfect for giving your beard a detailed trim. Whatever you need to do, Flexible Mirror comes to you. Plus, the contemporary chrome accents add a lovely modern touch to any room. Stop struggling to put in your delicate contacts and let Flexible Mirror come to you, so it's much easier to do. Similar mirrors can cost as much as $100, and they don't even come to you. But you can get Flexible Mirror for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. We guarantee you'll love the Flexible Mirror so much that it comes with our 90-day no questions asked money-back guarantee. And here's the best part. We give you free shipping on your entire order. That's right, free shipping. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-987-6183. That's 1-800-987-6183 or order online at tryflexiblemirror.com.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kinks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-313-8062.
And we're back on the water cooler. Time now to get some of the buzzy news stories making headlines. Why do I always do that with buzzy? I always do that. Hey, look, anytime you have former FBI Director James Comey testifying at Capitol Hill about Russia, we need to hear more about that. So Sophie Mann from Just the News joining us now. Sophie, what do you got? James Comey on the Hill.
Yeah, hi David. So this morning,
Sophie.
Hi. We have former FBI Director James Comey testifying before the Senate Judiciary hearing during the third day of the oversight hearing on Crossfire Hurricane, which, as we know, was the 2016 Russia investigation. So today we have the big guy. Today we have James Comey coming in after a summer full of Rod Rosenstein, Sally Yates. Andrew McCabe is on the schedule for next week. Hearings have been a little bit delayed here and there, so we'll see what happens. But today we get Lindsey Graham, Dianne Feinstein, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Mike Lee, the whole judiciary.
Kit and caboodle.
Yeah, totally. Talking to him about what exactly happened with the FISA court situation. So we cover that subject a lot over at Just the News. John Solomon, our editor-in-chief, fearless leader, is an expert on the subject.
Yeah.
But today we really have Lindsey Graham laying into Director Comey, former Director Comey, asking him what happened, how could this have happened? Like, we've heard from every top-ranking FBI official involved in this investigation, and all of you guys do is say something bad happened, but it wasn't my fault. It was somebody's fault, but it wasn't my fault. And Lindsey Graham, understandably, has become frustrated. He loses his temper a little bit during these hearings.
He does.
Well, I mean, to the extent that he does.
He's a senator, right.
Yeah. He's saying, stop deflecting blame. Like, these courts were misled. We are looking to reconfirm your ability to use these courts, but we can't do that if we think you're going to abuse this power. So what happened? Sadly, much of what we've gotten today is deflections from James Comey, similarly to his colleagues. There was one brief exchange with Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, during which he said, I've been a proponent of the brave women and men at the FBI, and I think the Horowitz report was embarrassing, to which, surprisingly, Jim Comey said, I agree. I feel the same way as you do. I'm not deflecting blame. I accept the blame for this, and then kind of dropped off with the specifics of all of it. So we'll see if anything ends up coming out of this, especially as Andrew McCabe prepares to testify next week.
Yeah, but this feels frustrating for Republicans.
I think it certainly does. And the Democrats, we're pivoting back to Comey and his, the Hillary investigation. But so we'll see where this leads us, and we'll keep you posted.
Thanks, Sophie. Appreciate it. All right, tomorrow on the water cooler, Lara Trump Trump is going to be here. Looking forward to that. Also, Dr. Deborah Birx going to be here, coronavirus coordinator. We'll see you tomorrow. It's a lot to say.
If you suffer from foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, even lower back pain, if just standing causes aches, soreness, and fatigue, the problem could be your feet. When your feet are out of alignment, your entire body is out of alignment and you're in pain. Now you can change all of that. Today, introducing Superthonics, the doctor-designed breakthrough that solves the problem in your feet and relieves the pain throughout your entire body. It begins with the cushioned BioLock heel cup that holds your heel and ankle in perfect alignment. Next, metatarsal and longitudinal arch supports distribute the pressure of your body weight evenly across the entire foot.
Plus, these customizable inserts, which correct the angle at which your foot hits the ground, relieving your pain with every step you take.
Imagine being able to dance, walk, work, play golf, or just spend an afternoon shopping without the aches, pains, stiffness, and poor balance that rob you of your active life.
As a flight attendant, I spend a lot of time on my feet. The moment I put the Superthonics in, I could feel a huge difference. The pain in my knees went away, the pain in my feet went away. Not only am I wearing them for work, I am wearing them all the time.
Imagine finally getting relief from painful problems like bunions, shin splints, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, and even stress fractures. Doctor-prescribed orthotics can cost $600 to $800, but you won't pay anywhere near that for Superthonics when you call the number on your screen or go to Superthonics.com. For a limited time, you'll get the manufacturer's direct price of just $39.95. Call now, and we'll also include, at no extra cost, our soothing peppermint lotion to help invigorate your feet. You will also get our luxurious comfort slippers designed with durable memory foam. You receive it all. Superthonics are not available in any store. Call or go to Superthonics.com now.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes one too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
Time for new reading glasses? Go to Readers.com. With hundreds of styles to choose from, Readers.com has reading glasses hard to find in stores, like bifocal style readers, reading sunglasses, and computer readers. Choose from hundreds of fashionable styles and colors for under $20, all backed by our happiness guarantee. Go to Readers.com now and enter this exclusive TV coupon code at checkout to save up to 40%. That's Readers.com.
Welcome to Securing America with me, Frank Gaffney, the program that's a kind of owner's manual for protecting the country we love. In the course of the fractious presidential debate last night, the issue of the so-called COVID-19 virus and its devastating effects on our people, economy, and country featured prominently. Former Vice President Biden blamed President Trump for mishandling it all and the loss of life and jobs that ensued. For his part, Mr. Trump reminded his rival and the American people that that damage was the result of a pandemic launched on this country by China. The president is right, of course. In fact, the disease would more accurately be designated as the Chinese Communist Party virus, insofar as that horror was inflicted worldwide thanks to the CCP's failure to warn truthfully about the nature and magnitude of this virus and its facilitating of travel from Wuhan to overseas destinations, but not those within China. One of our country's greatest experts on the Chinese Communist Party and state, Gordon Chang, observes that this is the first time in history that one country has attacked all the world's other countries. By so doing, that historically murderous regime in Beijing has committed yet another epic crime against humanity. What remains unclear is what was the character of that crime. Was it premeditated and deliberate, or just an example of Chinese incompetence or malfeasance in response to a naturally occurring disaster? A Chinese scientist who claims to know the answer is Dr. Yanli Meng, who was interviewed on September 16th by Fox News' Tucker Carlson. Listen to what she had to say about the source of the COVID-19 virus.
From my first report, I can present the solid scientific evidence to our audience that this virus, COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 virus, actually is not from nature. It is a man-made virus created in the lab based on the China military discovered and owned the very unique bat coronavirus, which cannot affect people, is from that template owned by China military.
Even more troubling is evidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology, from which this CCP virus apparently emanated, is part of a large-scale and illegal biological warfare program the Chinese military has operated for decades. Even more shocking is its reported mission. Here's the backstory. In 2005, the Epoch Times newspaper obtained a copy of a speech secretly given by then Chinese Defense Minister Chi Haotian to high-level Communist Party officials sometime before he retired in 2003. General Chi's speech begins by referencing a Sina.com online survey. He said, China's future development may, quote, necessitate massive deaths in enemy countries, unquote. The survey was meant to assess whether the Chinese people would endorse a program of mass extermination. The defense minister went on to explain that China faces severe problems with overpopulation and pollution. He warned that such a situation cannot continue indefinitely. Therefore, the Communist Party must lead the Chinese people to go out and find new living space. Xi noted that in World War II, Germany and Japan both sought the same, but they did not follow the best strategy, which would have been to take out the strongest enemy first. In today's context, that means America must be target number one. But to mislead the Americans and divert attention, the Chinese Republic of China must, according to the general, pretend that Taiwan is target number one. According to General Chi, the key to everything in the coming war is the, quote, big issue of America, unquote. By conquering America directly, the Chinese communists can create a second China and thereby gain living space for the Chinese people. America has the land, the general suggested, and China must take that land. As General Chi put it, quote, therefore, solving the issue of America is the key to solving all other issues. First, this makes it possible for us to have many people migrate there and even establish another China under the same leadership of the Chinese Communist Party, unquote. Let that sink in. In as many words, the defense minister of China is saying his government intends not just to displace us and make us submit to its dictates, it is planning to invade and conquer this country. While preparing for war, Defense Minister Chi says that China must cynically do everything to promote its relationship with America. We still need America, Chi admitted. But once China has learned how to make advanced weapons, two tigers cannot live together on one mountain. Eventually, the Americans must be wiped out. To do this, General Chi told his audience, China must, quote, transcend conventions and restrictions, unquote. That means risking nuclear war, but also it means readiness to use biological weapons to, quote, clean up America, unquote. The defense minister declared that back in the early 1990s, then Communist Party General Secretary Deng Xiaoping instituted a biological weapons program for precisely this purpose. As General Chi put it, quote, when Comrade Xiaoping was still with us, the party's Central Committee had the perspicacity to make the right decision not to develop aircraft carrier groups and focus instead on developing lethal weapons that can eliminate mass populations of the enemy country, unquote. Think about that. According to Defense Minister Chi, the Sina.com online survey showed that the Chinese people are willing to accept the killing of large numbers of women, children, and prisoners in the enemy country. Chi ended his speech by saying, as war approaches, I am full of hope for our next generation, a generation he foresaw would wipe out the U.S. population and colonize America. Was the CCP virus of 2020 a dress rehearsal for such a devastating attack, or was it just capitalizing on the virus as a means of furthering its declared goal of helping defeat Donald Trump this fall? We'll be addressing those questions in coming programs. For the moment, suffice it to say there is ample evidence and growing reason to believe that China's COVID-19 pandemic was, as the communists say, no accident, comrade. We're going to talk about the Chinese Communist Party and its role in the debate last night with our next guest, Diana West, the author of American Betrayal, a story about how we have, in fact, had enemies within for some time. It's happening now, too. Stay tuned.
If you suffer from foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, even lower back pain, if just standing causes aches, soreness, and fatigue, the problem could be your feet. When your feet are out of alignment, your entire body is out of alignment and you're in pain. Now you can change all of that. Today, introducing Superthonics, the doctor-designed breakthrough that solves the problem in your feet and relieves the pain throughout your entire body. It begins with the cushioned BioLock heel cup that holds your heel and ankle in perfect alignment. Next, metatarsal and longitudinal arch supports distribute the pressure of your body weight evenly across the entire foot.
Plus, these customizable inserts, which correct the angle at which your foot hits the ground, relieving your pain with every step you take.
Imagine being able to dance, walk, work, play golf, or just spend an afternoon shopping without the aches, pains, stiffness, and poor balance that rob you of your active life.
As a flight attendant, I spend a lot of time on my feet. The moment I put the Superthonics in, I could feel a huge difference. The pain in my knees went away, the pain in my feet went away. Not only am I wearing them for work, I am wearing them all the time.
Imagine finally getting relief from painful problems like bunions, shin splints, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, and even stress fractures.
Doctor-prescribed orthotics can cost $600 to $800, but you won't pay anywhere near that for Superthonics
when you call the number on your screen or go to Superthonics.com. For a limited time, you'll get the manufacturer's direct price of just $39.95. Call now, and we'll also include, at no extra cost, our soothing peppermint lotion to help invigorate your feet. You will also get our luxurious comfort slippers designed with durable memory foam. You receive it all. Superthonics are not available in any store. Call or go to Superthonics.com now.
We're back, and we're going to drill down on last night's presidential debate with Diana West, a longtime syndicated columnist and author of 3 terrific books, including American Betrayal, The Secret Assault on Our Nation's Character. Diana, it's great to have you joining us here at Securing America, and to have a chance to talk to you about a topic that you've devoted tremendous energy and effort to over many years, for which I thank you. And that is the problem of those in our country who are not actually working for its best interests, but maybe working to subvert them. And the show last night, I guess that's what one would call it, featured that as kind of a leitmotif. Enemies within, those most obviously on the streets of our cities, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm really struck by kind of the structure and the questioning of this program and whether that might be evidence of a little bit of subversive activity on the part of the moderator. What are your thoughts?
Well, the moderator was not a moderator. The moderator, this Chris Wallace we're talking about, obviously, took off the moderator's mask and just threw in with Team Biden. I mean, I can't think of any. I've never seen a display like this. This includes the Candy Crowley incident with Mitt Romney and Barack Obama going back some years, all the various CNN correspondents we've seen take the debate moderator chairs over the years. Never seen somebody get involved in literally stopping President Trump from making points and always saying, we're on to the next topic, or that is the next topic, interceding again to stop President Trump in terms of letting Biden speak, and then constantly, I think what you can really, so I was going through the transcript this morning, and what I really understood going back through reading it more than watching it was an effort to prevent President Trump in particular from getting to telling the American people things that mainstream media, fake news, do not tell them. And this would be perfectly exemplified by when President Trump brought up Hunter Biden and the corruption and the money from Russian oligarchs and Chinese communists, which is not a family affair. This is a national security threat. You have a family member, while his father's serving as vice president, and his uncle involved as well, Hunter's Biden uncle and Joe Biden's brother, a family affair involved in dealing with our enemies and profiting by it. This is a national security threat, and whenever Trump got to the point of making this would be one of the break points for Chris Wallace to move on or stop.
Yeah,
and
or at least interject. And that's one piece on this, Diana, that I think is so important is this isn't sort of an abstraction, but actually during the Biden, if I could call it that, presidency, Obama-Biden, you had the then vice president directly and personally intervening on one of Communist China's top priorities, which was to gain access on a preferential basis to our capital markets. When I say preferential basis, I mean they would not have to comply with our laws that are designed to protect American and other investors from fraud, among other things, that would disclose real material risks. That deal was struck about 6 months before Hunter Biden gets a $1.5 billion deal with the Bank of China. This is material information for voters, it seems to me, and it was the kind of thing that was not possible to bring up with the immoderate moderator, Chris Wallace, in the mix.
Exactly, and this, I think, is really the takeaway from that debate. This was an effort to stop Trump once again by controlling the information that was discussed, questioning, for example, Trump would be asked about Antifa, his criticism of Biden on Antifa, but Biden himself was not asked about Antifa. Trump was asked to renounce for the millionth time this figment of white supremacy, which is this figment of the left and unfortunately the FBI, that we are all terrorized by white supremacist groups, which is not true. Trump was asked about that, and Biden was not asked about Black Lives Matter and Antifa, which is actually, it turns out, a core constituency of the Biden-Harris ticket. Literally speaking, when we actually look at the commentary, the running commentary for months now, and even when she was a presidential candidate, Kamala Harris's endorsements, various endorsements of this rioting, looting, violent movement that has absolutely paralyzed so much of our country for months now. She calls this an essential part of our system. Essential is the word.
And she's, of course, professing to be just speaking about their peaceful protests and the like, but you cannot separate them, and more to the point, you cannot ignore. And this goes to the heart of your work over the years, particularly your splendid book, American Betrayal, Diana. This is a Marxist enterprise that is seeking the destruction of our country from within. Its leaders profess to be trained ideologues in that Marxist mode. And destruction is the only option because that's central to the whole ideology and premise. The vice president picked up on this fact that the FBI director, Christopher Wray, said, well, there's no organization at work, at least with respect to Antifa. Your thoughts on that too, Diana, quickly?
Well, I agree with the president that the FBI director is wrong, which is what he stated in the debate. The notion of calling Antifa an idea, not an organization, when there are any number of Antifa organizations, we can only quickly look to the great work of journalist Andy Ngo, who has been doing the work, again, of the Justice Department in terms of exposing and delineating and investigating the different Antifa groups, organizations, how they work. This is a fallacy to call that an idea.
It is.
As President Trump said, I think, didn't he say something about an idea doesn't hit you on the head with a baseball bat? I mean,
Here's the thing, Diana. If the FBI is still chasing around after the professed white supremacist threat, whether it's the Boogaloo Boys or others, and ignoring the threat that is in our streets, destroying federal property among a lot of other places, and of course, in some cases, killing Americans. It's malfeasance on their part, and it is putting us in extreme jeopardy. Donna West, we have to leave it at that for the moment. We appreciate so much your insights, and thank you for coming on. I hope you will be a regular here at Securing America. Next up, we'll speak with a senior former U.S. government official with a lot of experience in the political warfare against this president. That and more, straight ahead.
Uh-oh, there you go. Slow slicing fruits, veggies, and those stinky onions that bring you to tears. But not anymore. Introducing NutriChopper, the compact handheld speed slicer that cuts up to 10 times quicker than a knife. Watch, you can have one slice or 10 perfect slices at once. Amazing! You can just julienne, or you can bundle slice julienne sticks at lightning speed. With NutriChopper, you can slice the entire onion or mince a mound of onions and never have time for tears. Why slice a single apple wedge when you can wedge it all in one snap? NutriChopper comes with the razor-sharp interchangeable stainless steel blades you need to make all of the cuts you want, and all incredibly quick. Chop thick slices, chop thin slices, chop cubes, chop sticks, and wedge whole fruits and vegetables in just 1 second. Slice it and cook it right in the pan, right on your stove. Chop and slice right into the pot for a family-sized stew with no mess. Snap and slice a fruit salad for the kids right into the bowl in seconds. Slice up a healthy salad for a quick and easy meal on the go. Cube meats and cheeses quick, in a snap. And NutriChopper comes with a perfect portion container and fresh keeping lid, so you can slice it, seal it, and store it all in one. To clean, simply rinse or rack it in the dishwasher. Then lock it to store it safely in a drawer. And now the NutriChopper with the thin slice, thick slice, wedge, and cube blades, and the slice and store container and lid, a value of over $40, is yours for just $19.99. But wait! Order now and we'll even pay the shipping for you. You get the complete NutriChopper set with blades and container with lids, all for just $19.99 with free shipping. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-927-4071 or go online at NutriChopper.com. That's 1-800-927-4071 or go to NutriChopper.com. Order now.
Welcome back. Fred Fleitz has 3 decades of experience as a national security practitioner, with much of his distinguished career spent in the U.S. intelligence community, including service as a longtime CIA analyst, a professional staff member on the House Intelligence Committee, as a senior State Department official, and most recently as the Chief of Staff on the Trump National Security Council. These days, I'm thrilled to say, he's my colleague as president of the Center for Security Policy here in Washington. Fred Fleitz, welcome to Securing America. It's great to have you with us.
Good to be here, Frank, and congratulations on the TV show.
Thank you. I'm blessed by having the opportunity to talk to people like you on it. Fred, you have spent most of your professional time, I think, working against a practice that has been, well, unfortunately, rather common over particularly Democratic administrations, and that is the politicization of the intelligence community. And we just had the new Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, release declassified documentation of something I think you've been warning of for some time as an example of this phenomenon, namely Hillary Clinton's involvement in the whole Russia hoax and the effort to, well, first stop the Trump candidacy in 2016 and then to undermine his presidency. Tell us about that document and what you have taken away from it.
This is an extraordinary development and an evolving story, Frank. Apparently, in mid-2016, the CIA came upon information that Russian intelligence analysts had concluded that Hillary Clinton had approved a plot to smear the Trump campaign for colluding with Russia, and this was to distract from the Hillary Clinton email server deal. Now, what's interesting about this is that apparently there was a referral to the FBI in early September 2016, and this was briefed to Trump administration officials. So here's two very interesting
Obama
unanswered
administration
questions.
officials, I think you mean, right?
I'm sorry, Obama administration
Important
officials.
distinction.
Here's two outstanding questions that we need to resolve. First of all, FBI Director Comey has been testifying on Wednesday about this, and he claims he can't recall this memo. Now, this is a guy who says he has a photographic memory, and he's obviously trying not to talk about this. He's tried not to talk about the Ratcliffe memo. Second, the Senate Intelligence Committee said that they wrote this off as Russian disinformation. Well, okay, it was Russian disinformation, but it's a pretty important piece of disinformation, and the Senate Intelligence Committee did not include it in its reports, did not admit that this existed. We now know that this existed, and I think we need to know who knew about this and when did they know about it, and why are we only finding about this now?
Well, one of the likely culprits, it seems to me, is John Brennan, then the Central Intelligence Agency director. We still haven't fully figured out all of the damage that he did in this regard, Fred, but one of the things that you have been on point about for years and taken a lot of heat for doing so is the contention that I think he promoted, that the entire intelligence community had arrived at the thoroughly vetted conclusion that Donald Trump was benefiting from the active involvement and help of the Russian government in terms of trying to get him elected president back in 2016. Talk a little bit about what you were saying at the time about that so-called consensus, but what you've now learned about the truth in that regard.
Well, in January 2017, the Intelligence Committee put out a memo that was supposed to be the view of all intelligence agencies, that Russia meddled in the election to help Trump win. Now, I objected to that memo at the time because if you read it, it was clear it was only written by 3 agencies, and later information came out over the following year. First, they said only 24 hand-picked analysts wrote it, which is a serious violation of protocol. The Intelligence Committee would let everybody weigh in on an important memo like that. But we found out from the Senate, from the House Intelligence Committee Republicans in the summer of 2018, this memo was written by only 3 intelligence officers, and they were all cronies of John Brennan.
Well, there you go.
So, and what's interesting about this Ratcliffe matter is that it is based on notes from Brennan. Now, I always thought Brennan was behind engineering the Russian collusion hoax. Now we know he knew about this supposed plot in the summer of 2016, and my guess is he was orchestrating it, and this showed up at the same time that the Steele dossier was being put together in July of 2016. So there are simply too many connections here. This is too much of a coincidence, I think, to write this off as just Russian disinformation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Fred, and it requires the most urgent scrutiny. I trust that this is one of the things that John Durham is doing, but I'm sorry that it's taking him so long to do it. Obviously, it's partly because this story keeps unfolding. Fred, just at least in passing, let me make the point that another victim of all of this, in addition, of course, to the president and his campaign, and arguably, you could say, his presidency, has been General Michael Flynn, a man that we've both worked with. I know you knew him back in the day when he was leading the Defense Intelligence Agency in particular. He went on to then work in the organization that you were chief of staff at subsequently, the National Security Council, very briefly, because he was taken out. And he was taken out on the basis of these kinds of, I think, coup plotting on the part of John Brennan and Comey and others. But Fred, it's particularly painful because we're watching this horrible mistreatment of this distinguished military officer continue. And I was so heartened to see he wrote a piece in Western Journal this week indicating that he's back, at least in a limited way. And the point he was making is really important to the topic that we'll be talking about momentarily, and that is that if we lose this country as a result of these kinds of, subversive activities, among other things, there's really no place else to go. And I know this is a focus of an important product line at the Center for Security Policy at the moment, the Voter's Guide. Very quickly, tell us what that involves and how people can find out about it.
Well, our senior analyst, Michael Waller, put together a voter education guide to educate voters on 10 crucial national security issues they need to weigh before the election this November. And part of this is a very important webinar series. These are all available on our website, securefreedom.org. I especially urge your viewers to check out a webinar we did this week with former New York Assistant Attorney Andy McCarthy, which was titled
Fred Fleitz, we have to leave it at that. We're going to find them all at securefreedom.org.
Law enforcement options.
More on this
right
ahead.
Pain, swelling, stiffness. When your hands hurt, you can't function. Until now. Introducing the new Copperfit compression gloves with sure grip technology to give you more power, more control, and more agility than ever. Our most advanced copper-infused compression fabric woven into an ultra-lightweight performance glove that fits like a second skin to support relief and recovery of sore muscles and painful joint stiffness. And new Sure Grip bands built in to provide a strong, non-slip grip for more power and control.
You need total control of your hands when you're doing anything with construction. Your hands are your livelihood. The Copperfit gloves are great. The grip is outstanding here with these different ribs. It makes my hand a lot more usable. It just feels like you're just ready to start the job.
The gloves have been a game changer for me. They help with flexibility and pain and soreness. They allow me to do my job even better.
Breathable wicking fabric with an open finger design for full range of motion, feel, and control.
They relieve my pain. When I grab something, I'm not in pain. The support or whatever magic these things do, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to me what it is, it works.
I get a lot of pain, and it can make it difficult to do the smallest thing. While I'm wearing this, I do not have any pain. I can use it on the keyboard, I can use my phone, I drive with it, I sleep with it. I love this glove.
The new Copperfit compression gloves with Sure Grip technology. Relief from painful muscle and joint soreness. Guaranteed or your money back. Call 1-800-984-5571 or on the web at getcopperfitgloves.com for only $19.99. Order right now and your shipping is free.
I tried it, I use it, I know it works.
Copperfit gloves definitely just make my life better.
I've used Copperfit before. This has helped my hands so much. These things work.
Feel better with copper-infused compression. Ask for it by name. Copperfit compression gloves.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the single greatest challenge we face in securing America, namely the great and growing danger posed by the Chinese Communist Party. One of the most helpful ways to take stock of that danger is to talk to people who have experienced firsthand enslavement by the CCP. After all, that's what they have in mind for all the rest of us as well. For that purpose, I am delighted to welcome Engpat Togchog, the president of the Southern Mongolian Human Rights Information Center. He joins us on the eve of a major Resist China rally here in Washington tomorrow, in which the plight of his country and that of other actual and incipient captive nations will be featured. And just to give you a sense of the captive nations that are currently making up part of the People's Republic of China, you'll see here the entirety of Mongolia up at the top. You'll see Tibet down at the bottom, East Turkestan here in the middle, and Manchuria is out there somewhere as well. And the problem is, if you add up all of this real estate, about 60% of the territory of the People's Republic of China actually belongs to nations that are sovereign, formally sovereign, I should say, and hopefully will be once again independent states. Engpat, it is so good to have you with us. Thank you for coming in person and talking with us about what has happened to your country already and what is happening now that is further evidence of the oppression of the Chinese Communist Party over those that it is enslaving.
Thank you for having me. Southern Mongolia was an independent and sovereign country up until 1949 when the Chinese Communist Party took over this vast territory and annexed it to China, the so-called People's Republic of China. So up until 1949, we had our own government structure. We had our own military, diplomacy, currency, and it was a complete sovereign and independent nation. But in 1949, People's Republic of China officially annexed this territory and then called it the first nationality minority autonomous region. And then later on, they used the same model to Tibet and East Turkestan, and called East Turkestan, and Chinese called them as Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. So,
but not in practice so autonomous.
No, not at all. Not at all. There's people in these occupied nations, or so-called autonomous regions. People do not have any political autonomy. They don't even have the basic human rights and fundamental freedoms. For example, what is happening right now in Southern Mongolia testifies to this fact that recently Chinese central government came up with an idea of eradicating Mongolian language from entire educational system across Southern Mongolia. And then they called this policy as second generation bilingual education, which was aiming at the complete replacement of Mongolian language as medium of instruction in an educational system with the Chinese one. And
so bilingual suggests that there would actually be instruction in both languages, but it turns out there's really only one language that's being taught. It's kind of like the old one country, two systems in Hong Kong. It actually is not going to be that.
It's a misleading, and it's deceptive. Deceptive, yes. It's trying to deceive the international community that China is implementing bilingual education. So the Mongolians knew that, because we've been dealing with this kind of lies in the past 71 years. For example, autonomy was a lie. It's a broken promise, and so is the new bilingual education policy. So that is why entire Southern Mongolian population rose up against this new policy, which we all Mongolians consider is a new round of cultural genocide.
Cultural genocide. I think that's a very apt term. I'm interested in a piece of this that is often not addressed. In addition to enslaving your people, the Chinese Communist Party has been, I believe, exhibiting all of the symptoms of a racist society. This is the Han supremacism, it's been called, at work. Talk a little bit about both of those things. We're here we are, after all, in America, endlessly being told we're a racist country and systematically racist, and we also are engaging in, the sort of continuing crimes of slavery, at least by, our inheritance. This is actually happening in your country, is it not?
Absolutely. It's safe to say that China is the most racist country in the world, and if you look at how they are treating the so-called minority, ethnic minorities, including Southern Mongolians, Tibetans, and Uyghurs, you can see that they're the real racist or Han supremacy in their every single policy. For example, when they implement this new bilingual education policy, they publicly states that this is advancing the Mongolian culture.
And they're doing you a big favor.
Yes, and then they are helping us to join the mainstream.
To be better and more Han, presumably, over time. Right?
Yes, and then in the same time they're saying, if you learn Chinese, well, then you have a better opportunities.
Better future,
better futures.
We're almost out of time. I did want to just give you 30 seconds to talk a little bit about America, is both to you and to your people.
Well, what's happening in Southern Mongolia is not actually limited to those three occupied nations within China. It is actually same is happening across Asian continent, African continent, also the South America, and even here in the United States.
And if we lose the United States to these kinds of forces, that would not be good for southern Mongolia, needless to say, nor for any of the other countries you've mentioned. But we have to leave it at that for the moment. I appreciate so much your being with us, and I trust you will come back. Next up, we're going to speak to another victim or prospective victim of Chinese communist imperialism, Joyce Ho. Straight ahead.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat control.